Today, we're going to unpack the deep theological meaning behind one of the most famous ideas out there, God's love. We're going to start with a verse you definitely know, but it's going to lead us to some places that are surprisingly profound and maybe even a little challenging.
Yes, John 3:16. You've seen it on signs at sporting events, you've heard it a million times. It's probably the most quoted verse in the entire Bible. And for a lot of people, it's just this really comforting, simple, and beautiful statement about how big God's love is. Seems pretty straightforward, right?
But what if the real punch of this verse is hidden in a word we usually just skim over? What if that little phrase, the world, carries a meaning that totally changes how we understand this famous passage? Let's dig into that.
Okay, so first things first. We need to kind of reframe our whole idea of what the world means in this verse. And trust me, this is where it starts to get really interesting.
You know, the common way to read this is, for God so loved the world. And we think, wow, God loves this huge, massive planet with all its people. But a brilliant theologian named D.A. Carson points out that, especially in the Gospel of John, the emphasis is totally different. The real shock isn't that God loved a world that was so large, but that he loved a world that was so bad. And this is a huge shift in perspective. See, when John's Gospel talks about the world, it's often describing a system that is actively, fundamentally hostile to God. It's a world that hates the light, that's opposed to everything God is about, and, let's be real, it's the world that crucified his son. So God isn't just loving some big, neutral population. He's loving a world that is his enemy. That just changes everything, doesn't it?
All right, so that's the first layer. But it gets even more complex because there's another word in that verse that creates this fascinating theological tension, and that word is whoever. This brings us face to face with a paradox between God's complete control and our human choice.
Throughout the Gospel of John, there's this incredibly strong, repeated theme. God is absolutely sovereign in salvation. The Father gives people to the Son. God is 100% in control of who is saved. It's clear as day.
And yet, right here, smack in the middle of John 3:16, you have this word, whoever. It sounds like a wide-open universal invitation, doesn't it? So how do you hold both of those ideas in your head at the same time? God's total control on one side, and this free offer to whoever on the other?
Well, this tension is right at the heart of John's theology. He just presents both truths without flinching. Yes, the Father gives people to the Son. Yes, Jesus says flat out, I chose you. But the offer of the gospel is also genuinely for whosoever will. The way it seems to work is that we only see who the chosen or the elect are after they put their faith in Jesus. God actually uses that free, universal offer of the gospel as the very way he brings his chosen people to himself. It's pretty amazing.
Okay, so we've talked about the incredible scale of God's love for a bad world, and we've wrestled with the whoever paradox. But what does this kind of self-giving love actually look like in practice? Well, John gives us a powerful, unforgettable story.
Picture it. It's the upper room, hours before the crucifixion. Jesus wants to show his disciples the full extent of his love. And he doesn't do it with a big speech. He does it by getting up, taking off his robe, and tying a towel around his waist. He literally takes on the role of the lowest servant in the house.
The act of washing his disciples' feet would have been completely jarring, maybe even offensive to them. Their teacher, their rabbi, was doing the filthy job that was reserved for a non-Jewish slave. It was a stunning, upside-down picture of power and love. It was a lesson in humble, self-effacing service.
And this whole scene perfectly illustrates what John means when he writes that Jesus loved them to the end. This is a classic John move, a phrase with a double meaning. It means he loved them to the furthest, most extreme extent possible, like getting on his knees to wash their feet. But it also literally means he loved them right up to the very end of his life, as he was preparing to lay it all down.
And that brings us to our final point, which is maybe the most mind-blowing revelation about God's love in the entire Gospel of John.
So what's the ultimate measuring stick for this love? How deep does it really go? Is it like a king loving his subjects? A master loving his servants? It's actually something so much more profound than that.
Get ready for this. In his final prayer, Jesus reveals the standard. The Father loves believers with the very same love he has for his own Son. Not a lesser love, not a different kind of love, but the same infinite, perfect, eternal love that exists inside the Trinity itself. That is just an absolutely astonishing statement.
So, we have to end here. If believers are loved with the very same love the Father has for the Son, and then Jesus commands them to love one another as He has loved them, what does that actually mean for us? What does it even look like to try and love other people by that same incredible, self-giving, divine standard? Now that is a question worth thinking about.